In order to understand the age of reason, or what is known as the Enlightenment era, we will have to take a brief look at the scientific revolution which happened prior to this. For several hundred years, there was this commonly accepted view that the earth is the center of the universe. This is known as the geocentric view of the universe, and Ptolemy, Ptolemy, Ptolemy was of this view. This geocentric view is Ptolemy's view. But in the year 1543, Copernicus came along and he presented an idea which was revolutionary. He presented the view that the sun is the center of the universe. This is known as the heliocentric view of the universe. So the earlier geocentric view of the universe propounded by Ptolemy was discredited and a new idea was accepted, and this new idea was the heliocentric view of the universe, where the sun is the center of the universe. When this kind of a thing happened, there automatically arose a wave of thinking which was bound to result in a lot of questioning and doubt. Ideas related to classical antiquity, everything that the ancients had given the Western world, all the ideas that they held dear, the Western world, and everything that related to classical antiquity, which the Western world gave a lot of importance to, the foundations got shaken. And now there was an era of questioning. They wanted to question everything to find out, whether there was something more to this. There was something different from what they had always been believing. And so we come to Francis Bacon. Along with Francis Bacon, we have Rene Descartes, who said, "I think, therefore I am." Earlier it used to be, "I am, therefore I think." And Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Now there will be a lot of inquiry and questioning into everything that had been established facts till then. Now a new wave of intellectuals will come up, and these people will have their own ideas about everything, and a very big name here is that of the German philosopher Immanuel Kant. He wrote an essay answering the question. This was the title of the essay: Answering the question, what is enlightenment? And in that essay, Immanuel Kant wrote, "Dare to know." So this became a key idea in the Enlightenment era. In the Enlightenment era, or the age of reason, the rational faculty, the reasoning faculty, the ability to reason things out, and empiricism. Empiricism simply means that, with the help of our 5 physical senses, we receive the whole world. So, this thing that we are receiving through the 5 senses, the evidence of the 5 senses will have a lot of importance, and whatever is received through the 5 senses, on that a lot of reasoning work or rationalizing is going to happen. So the intellectuals of this period are absolutely going to lay emphasis on intellectual enquiry. That will be one of the key things here. The intellectuals of this age, they spread their views through books, through public meetings or through meetings, through journals, through pamphlets. And so their ideas started spreading rapidly. The Enlightenment ideas undermined the authority of the church, and it also undervalued monarchy. People were prompted and encouraged not to just blindly accept things, but to reason out for themselves and to use that reasoning faculty to the best of their capacity. Now we can just take a brief look at some of the texts relating to the Enlightenment era, and when we look at these texts, we will come across David Hume's A Treatise of Human Nature, which came out in 1740. Then Rousseau's Discourse on Inequality, 1754. Also Rousseau's The Social Contract, 1762. Adam Smith's The Theory of Moral Sentiments, 1759, and also Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations, 1776. Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason, 1781. So, the age of reason, or the Enlightenment era. The age of reason or the Enlightenment era, however you choose to call it. The authority of Aristotle and Ptolemy got challenged, and when these people's authority got challenged, the direct result of this was that people started realizing that the ancients did not know many things. They did not have answers to many things. And so there began that great debate in literature about the relative supremacy of the ancients and the moderns. We've all heard of the Battle of the Books, and we've all heard of Sir William Temple. And there was a lot of literature about this argument which was going on, and it was about whether the ancients were superior to the moderns or the moderns were superior to the ancients. This thing started because the authority of Aristotle and Ptolemy was